February 27, 1947, dawned like any other day in Taipei, Taiwan. The bustling streets were filled with vendors hawking their wares, children playing in the shadow of colonial-era buildings, and citizens going about their daily lives. Yet, beneath the veneer of normalcy, tensions simmered. Resentment towards the ruling Kuomintang or KMT government, which had taken control of Taiwan from Japan just 2 years prior, ran deep. The island, once hopeful for a brighter future after decades of Japanese rule, found itself grappling with corruption, economic hardship, and political oppression. This potent cocktail of discontent was about to explode, forever etching February 27th into the annals of Taiwanese history as a day of infamy. The events of that day, which would come to be known as the February 27th incident or the 228 incident, were not an isolated outburst. They were the culmination of years of simmering anger and frustration. Taiwan, a nation forged through the crucible of colonization, foreign rule, and internal strife, was about to experience another defining moment in its tumultuous journey. This incident, its causes and its profound consequences, would leave an indelible mark on the Taiwanese psyche, shaping the island's political landscape, social fabric, and national identity for generations to come. The seeds of the February 27th incident were sown long before the first shot was fired or the first protester took to the streets. To truly understand the events of that fateful day, one must delve into the historical context, the grievances, and the simmering discontent that had been building for years. Only then can we grasp the magnitude of the tragedy and its profound significance in shaping the Taiwan we know today. This essay will explore the February 27th incident, examining its historical background, the immediate triggers, the events themselves, and the long-term repercussions. We will delve into the incident's impact on Taiwanese society, politics, and its enduring legacy in shaping the island's identity. By understanding the 228 incident, we gain a deeper understanding of Taiwan's past, its present, and its ongoing quest for self-determination. In 1895, following the First Sino-Japanese War, Taiwan was ceded to Japan, marking the beginning of a 50-year period of colonial rule. The Japanese administration, eager to modernize its new acquisition, embarked on a series of reforms and infrastructure projects. Railways were built, education systems were revamped, and the island's economy, particularly in agriculture, was significantly developed. However, these advancements came at a cost. Taiwanese people, now subjects of the Japanese Empire, faced systematic discrimination, cultural suppression, and economic exploitation. Their land was often confiscated to make way for Japanese settlers and industries, forcing many into a system of forced labor. The use of the Japanese language was enforced, and traditional customs and practices were discouraged. While some Taiwanese benefited from the economic progress, many experienced it as a period of dispossession, cultural alienation, and political disenfranchisement. The Japanese colonial period left a complex and enduring legacy. On the one hand, it laid the foundation for Taiwan's modern infrastructure and economic development. On the other hand, it created a deep sense of resentment towards foreign rule and a yearning for self-determination. This desire for autonomy, coupled with the social and economic disparities engendered by colonial policies, created a volatile undercurrent that would have lasting repercussions. When Japan surrendered in 1945, ending World War II, Taiwan was placed under the administration of the Republic of China, or ROC, led by the Kuomintang. Initially, there was hope among many Taiwanese that this transition would usher in an era of self-governance and prosperity. However, this initial optimism would soon give way to disillusionment and anger, as the KMT's policies proved to be a far cry from the liberation many had hoped for. The arrival of the Kuomintang government in Taiwan was initially met with cautious optimism. Many Taiwanese saw it as an opportunity to shed the shackles of colonial rule and chart their own course. However, this hope quickly turned to disillusionment as the KMT administration, led by Governor Chen Yi, proved to be corrupt, inefficient, and out of touch with the needs of the local population. The KMT, having just lost the Chinese Civil War to the Communists, treated Taiwan more as a conquered territory than a liberated one. The KMT administration implemented policies that favored mainland Chinese who had fled to Taiwan with the KMT over the native Taiwanese population. Key positions in government, the military and state-run industries were predominantly filled by mainlanders, leaving the Taiwanese feeling marginalized in their own land. The situation was further exacerbated by rampant corruption within the KMT ranks. Graft, nepotism, and economic mismanagement became widespread, leading to soaring inflation, shortages of essential goods, and widespread unemployment. The economic woes were compounded by a series of social and cultural clashes. The KMT attempted to impose its Mandarin language and culture on the Taiwanese, who had their own distinct dialects and customs. This cultural imposition, coupled with the political and economic marginalization, created a deep sense of resentment and alienation among the Taiwanese population. The stage was set for a confrontation, a clash between a populace pushed to the brink and an administration that seemed either oblivious to or unconcerned with the growing discontent. As the situation deteriorated, whispers of dissent turned into murmurs, then into open criticism. The KMT, however, responded with repression. Freedom of speech was curtailed, political opposition was suppressed, and those who dared to criticize the government were often met with intimidation, arrest, or worse. The KMT's heavy-handed tactics only served to further inflame tensions, pushing the island closer to the precipice of widespread unrest. Section 4. The spark that ignited the island. A smoldering resentment erupts. On the afternoon of February 27, 1947, in a seemingly minor incident, agents of the Tobacco Monopoly Bureau confronted a 40-year-old widow named Lin Jiangmai. Her crime? Selling untaxed cigarettes on the streets of Taipei to support her family. As the agents attempted to confiscate her meager wares, a crowd gathered, protesting the authorities' heavy-handedness. The situation escalated rapidly, and in the ensuing chaos, one of the agents fired into the crowd, killing a bystander. News of the shooting spread like wildfire through Taipei, and then across the island. The incident, though seemingly insignificant in isolation, became the catalyst that ignited the long-simmering resentment against the KMT government. The pent-up anger and frustration of the Taiwanese people, fueled by years of political oppression, economic hardship, and social injustice, finally boiled over. What began as a local protest over a petty infraction quickly transformed into a full-blown island-wide uprising. Students, intellectuals, workers, farmers, people from all walks of life took to the streets, demanding justice for the slain bystander and an end to the KMT's oppressive rule. The protests were not merely about cigarettes or even the shooting itself. They were a manifestation of a much deeper discontent, a cry for freedom, dignity, and self-determination. The February 27th incident, sparked by a seemingly trivial event, had become a watershed moment in Taiwanese history. A spontaneous uprising against an oppressive regime that had for too long ignored the plight of its people. The KMT administration, caught off guard by the scale and intensity of the uprising, initially appeared willing to negotiate. Governor Chen Yi promised reforms and dialogue, hoping to quell the unrest. However, this conciliatory facade would soon crumble, revealing the KMT's true nature and setting in motion a chain of events that would plunge Taiwan into an abyss of violence and terror.